Today we shall be focusing on the raging matters in the media arising out of the stinking SML scandal, which has outraged the entire nation. Friends from the media, the NDC has noted with disgust attempts by the scandal-riddled Akufo-Addo MPP government to cover up serious acts of corruption surrounding the dealings between a privately owned Ghanaian company known as Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, SML, on one hand, and the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, on the other hand. These acts of corruption have arisen out of the award of certain illegal contracts by the ruling MPP government, acting through the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Finance. Thanks to a patriotic investigative work carried out by one of your own in the media, an illustrious son of the land, Manasseh Azuri Awuni, and his colleagues at the Fourth Estate, the underhand and shady dealings between the GRA and SML have been unmasked. Following huge public angst against the putrefying details of the Fourth Estate's expose, coupled with mounting calls by the NDC minority in Parliament, civil society organizations, and you, the media, President Akufo-Addo tasked KPMG to conduct an audit into SML's dealings with the GRA. After initial reluctance to make public details of this audit, the presidency last week published only portions of KPMG's investigative report on the matter instead of the full report. But the portions of the published reports have nonetheless raised several grave matters that border on naked corruption and abuse of the public purse. After a careful study of the Fourth Estate's report and the published portions of KPMG's report into this matter, we deem it necessary to highlight 15 incontrovertible facts about this stinking SML scandal, which are worth interrogating. Number one, SML was incorporated on 14th February 2017. This was barely 37 days after the MPP assumed the reins of power on the 7th of January 2017. The stated capital of the company is 10,000 Ghana cedis, and the paid-up shares of the company is 10,000 Ghana cedis. The shareholder and chief executive officer of the company is one Evans Edusei, who owns and runs Evans Timbers Limited. So these are the brief facts about the company we are talking about, SML. Number two, barely 4 months after the incorporation of SML, the corrupt Akufo-Addo MPP government, acting through the Ghana Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Finance, sought to engage SML to provide transaction audit services at the port through sole sourcing. Between June 2017 and September 2017, the GRA made 3 separate requests to the Public Procurement Authority to engage the services of this 4-month-old company through sole sourcing. All these 3 requests were flatly refused by the Public Procurement Authority. Number 3, all these requests to the Public Procurement Authority happened at a time this 4-month-old SML, an offshoot of a timber company, had no prior experience in revenue assurance or transaction auditing. It goes without saying that GRA's request for approval to engage SML through sole sourcing were refused by the PPA because the request did not meet the mandatory requirements of Section 40 of the Public Procurement Act 2003, Act 663. Number 4, in furtherance of their questionable and unholy determination to engage SML through sole sourcing at all costs. The GRA, with the tacit approval of the Ministry of Finance, I must say the Ken Oforiatta-led Ministry of Finance, engaged SML through the back door as a subcontractor of a company called West Blue, which at the time was providing transaction audit services to the state at the port. SML was made to take over the transaction audit services of West Blue in December 2018 when the latter was kicked out. Subsequently, the GRA added external price verification to the contracted services of SML. Additionally, the GRA petroleum sector, we are talking about this company which only got registered. The Ghana Revenue Authority remains the only customer, I repeat, the only customer of this company we call SML. Number 5, it is interesting to note that the managing director of SML, one Christian Tete Soti, was the technical advisor to the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, who left his job at the GRA to manage SML. Immediately the company commenced the implementation of its contract with the GRA sometime in 2020. So this Christian Tete Soti has been Controller and Accountant General for Ghana before. In the mid-2000s, he got retired and was appointed as a technical advisor to the head, the Director General, or if you like, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority. When the GRA was making frantic efforts to engage SML through sole sourcing, this man, Christian Tete Soti, was a technical advisor to the Commissioner General. Immediately SML got a job, he resigned from his role as technical advisor at the GRA to go and work for SML as their managing director. This fact raises immediately SML got a job, he resigned from his role as technical advisor at the GRA to go and work for SML as their managing director. This fact raises serious issues of potential insider trading, which are worth. It is instructive to note that all these 2018 to 2019 transactions between the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia MPP government and XML were done in violation of the Public Procurement Act, the GRA Act, and the Public Financial Management Act of 2016, Act 921. This is because the agreements did not go through the mandatorily required procurement processes. No approval was given by the PPA for SML to be engaged through sole sourcing, either for the transaction audit services agreement or the price verification agreement, the standard price verification agreement, or the downstream petroleum audit services agreement. None of these agreements went through the laid down procurement process. Neither were they approved by the board of the GRA, as required by the GRA Act. Additionally, the agreements were not approved by Parliament as required by Section 33 of the Public Financial Management Act relating to multi-year commitments. Number 7, sadly, the irredeemably corrupt Akufo-Addo-Bawumia MPP government has paid a staggering, a colossal 1,061,054,778 cedis to SML under these illegal contracts from the taxes of suffering Ghanaians. This fact is contained in sections of KPMG's investigative reports published by the presidency. We are not making it up. This is contained in the press statement which was issued by the presidency. It has been established, that's number 8, it's been established beyond every reasonable doubt, both by the Fourth Estate and KPMG, that no needs assessment or value for money assessment were done before these illegal contracts were signed. Clearly, some people simply sat down and designed this sleazy scheme. Even more bizarre is a finding by KPMG that SML was not able to provide a scintilla of evidence. They were not able to provide any supporting documentation and relevant information to substantiate the investments they claim to have made. Number 10, the public sections of the KPMG reports clearly indicate that SML partially underlined, partially delivered on its illegally contracted transaction audits and price verification services, and that the state did not derive the full benefits of the payments we made to SML. This is contained in the KPMG reports. Also, it has been established beyond every reasonable doubt that the illegally contracted price verification services that were offered by SML were duplicitous, as Ghana's existing integrated customs management system, ICOMS, already has inbuilt capabilities of external price verification. Number 12, the downstream petroleum audit agreement has been found by the Fourth Estate to be duplicitous. So we are talking about three different agreements. The first was a transaction audit agreement, which was awarded to SML for them to do other ports. They made a request to the PPA for approval to engage them for this service through sole sourcing. It was refused. They then decided to impose SML on West Blue through the back door without going through the public procurement process. And when West Blue was kicked out in December 2018, SML now took over the transaction audit services of West Blue at the ports. Then after this, subsequently, they gave SML another contract, another task, which is external price verification also at the port, which contract or engagement also did not go through the public procurement law. Neither was it discussed by the GRA board or approved by Parliament. Then again, they decided to award them another contract, which is auditing in the downstream petroleum sector. That also did not go through the procurement process. Neither was it approved by the GRA board or by the Parliament of Ghana as required by law. Now, the KPMG report says that the price verification contract was not performed by SML fully, but partially, and that we did not derive the full benefits from the payments we made to them. They have said the same about the transaction audit. And they have said that with regards to the price verification contract, it was duplicitous because we have a system called ICOMS, Integrated Customs Management System, which can do exactly what SML was doing, for which they were being paid. So these are the three different illegal contracts we are talking about. Now, in the case of the downstream petroleum audit agreement, the Fourth Estate has found that superior and comprehensive revenue assurance measures have already been introduced by the regulator, the National Petroleum Authority, to curtail revenue losses in the downstream petroleum sector. This fact has been corroborated on video by the MPA, an IT guru of SML, and several industry players like ASEP and what have you. Number 13, it has been established by the Fourth Estate that the Ghana Revenue Authority and the National Petroleum Authority do not use SML's data for revenue collection in the downstream petroleum sector. This calls into question the relevance and usefulness of the illegal downstream petroleum audit agreement of SML and the outrageous payments it has received from the corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government. Number 14. Till date, the public is yet to be showed any evidence that SML has detected any case of under-declaration or under-reporting or dilution or diversion since it started executing its illegally contracted downstream petroleum audit agreements. Number 15. Claims by SML that its services have stopped malfeasance in the downstream petroleum sector and have saved the nation 3 billion Ghana cedis has been established to be palpably false. In fact, SML itself recanted this false claim after it was exposed by the Fourth Estate. So these are the 15 material facts that we wish to highlight today for those who have heard about this SML scandal but do not really understand what it entails and what this scandal is about. Distinguished friends from the media, in view of the foregoing material facts, it is unconscionable and in fact defies common sense for the corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government to say that, quote, there is a clear need for the downstream petroleum audit services provided by SML, unquote. Let me state unequivocally that the NDC is not in principle against revenue assurance, whether in the upstream petroleum sector or downstream sector or at the ports. We are not in principle against revenue assurance. What we are vehemently against are revenue assurance transactions that are awarded in contravention of the laws of Ghana and the payment of outrageous fees under such illegal revenue assurance transactions. What we are vehemently against are illegal and duplicitous revenue assurance transactions that offer no value for money for the state. SML's downstream petroleum audit agreements, ladies and gentlemen, just like their transaction audit agreement and external price verification agreements, has been established beyond every reasonable doubt to be illegal, duplicitous, and totally useless. The claim by government that the state has benefited from the illegal downstream petroleum audit services of SML simply because of an increase in petroleum volumes by 1.7 billion liters and an increase in tax revenue to the state to the tune of 2.4 billion Ghana cedis as claimed by government is ridiculous, to say the least. That claim, with all due respect, defies common sense. It should be obvious to every discerning mind, ladies and gentlemen, that the increased petroleum volumes and tax revenue recorded by the country in the downstream petroleum sector are attributable to the general increase in petroleum consumption and the prices of petroleum products. There is no concrete evidence, I repeat, no concrete evidence that shows that the recorded increases in petroleum volumes and tax revenue in the downstream petroleum sector are wholly or partly attributable or correlated to the work of SML. Indisputable data published by Imani Africa show clearly that the rate of increase in petroleum revenue has virtually been the same before and after SML's illegal entry into the downstream petroleum sector. Ladies and gentlemen, assuming without admitting that the claim by government that revenue in the downstream petroleum sector has gone up, volumes have gone up, and that is attributable to SML, assuming without admitting that all these claims are true, assuming without admitting that SML's illegal audit services in the downstream petroleum sector have had a bearing on the increased tax revenue recorded by the states to the tune of 2.4 billion Ghana cedis. How does imposing taxes on fuel, won't petroleum revenue go up? If you are increasing the prices of petroleum products, won't
the revenue we get from that go up? Is this not common sense? And yet they want us to believe, because they think Ghanaians are gullible, that revenue is going up because of SML. And yet they are not able to tell us exactly what SML has done, which has led to this revenue increase. And when you look at the data, it shows clearly that the revenue in the downstream petroleum sector was already on an upward trajectory before SML even entered the market to do this so-called work they are talking about. In any case, how do you ask a company to continue the performance of an agreement which is illegal and criminal? But they say, oh, revenue has gone up. And the question we are asking is this. You claim that that revenue which has accrued to the state is a total of 2.4 billion cedis, which we say is not attributable to SML, but attributable to the increase in petroleum consumption and the prices of petrol. But let's even assume that you are right, that it is attributed to SML. So a company comes to help you to collect 2.4 billion and you dash the company 1 billion. Does this make sense? In which serious country can this happen? You help the government to collect revenue of 2.4 billion and your share is 1 billion. Is there any company in the world that collects such an outrageous fee? So clearly, the justification being mounted by governments is patently flawed on the basis of that publication from the presidency itself. And we are asking, ladies and gentlemen, what exactly did SML do to deserve such a gargantuan fee? This is simply incredible and defies logic. It is evidently clear, friends from the media, from the above enumerated facts, that the justifications being mounted by government for the continuation of SML's downstream petroleum audit services are completely untenable and hogwash. No patriotic Ghanaian or discerning mind will support or justify this unconscionable nation-wrecking transaction. It will only take a corrupt, reckless, and irresponsible government to entertain such a colossal ripoff. Such farcical and contrived justifications must be treated with utmost contempt. In conclusion, friends from the media, it is an indisputable fact that the transaction audits, external price verification, and downstream petroleum audit contracts entered into between the Akufo-Addo government and SML are unlawful. There is no debate about this. I watched their PRO on Newsfile over the weekend, gasping for breath and struggling to answer simple questions. She was asked whether the award of contracts to them were approved by Parliament. She said she's not a lawyer. Must you be a lawyer to know that an agreement has not been approved by Parliament or has been approved by Parliament? There is no debate about that. The NDC is therefore of the considered view that these illegal transactions are duplicitous, needless, useless, and inimical to the interest of our dear nation. The payments that have been made by the corrupt Akufo-Addo MPP government, totaling 1 billion Ghana cedis and over to SML, are thus illegal. Those who sanctioned those illegal payments have occasioned a huge financial loss to the state. We in the NDC are appalled but unsurprised by the decision by the Akufo-Addo MPP government to allow SML to continue the performance of their illegal downstream petroleum audit services, while merely recommending the termination of the other unlawful contracts. This is the greatest abatement of crime, yet again, by the ruling New Patriotic Party, and goes to fortify our suspicions that this scandal was cooked at the highest echelons of power. Ladies and gentlemen, the refusal of the corrupt Akufo-Addo MPP government to publish the full KPMG investigative report on this matter, and their decision to allow SML to continue performing their illegal downstream petroleum audit services, reaffirms government's ploy to cover up this damning and sleazy SML scandal. And this is symptomatic of the well-established practice of rampant corruption sordid cover-ups, and the culture of impunity we have witnessed under the watch of President Akufo-Addo, the chief corruption clearing agent, in the last 7 years and over. At a time Ghanaians are faced with unprecedented economic crisis and excruciating hardships, the least duty bearers can do is to use the meager resources of state judiciously and for the benefit of the people. Yet the NPP continues to plunder the state and the national coffers with brazen impunity. Ladies and gentlemen, the colossal amount of money which has been doled out to SML under their illegal contracts by the nation-wrecking Akufo-Addo NPP government could have been invested in social infrastructure or job creation ventures such as capital for businesses. It could have been invested in enhancing the quality of education, the quality of healthcare delivery in Ghana, and other productive sectors to improve the livelihoods of suffering Ghanaians. Sadly, my brothers and sisters, all these monies have gone to line certain private pockets due to the unbridled greed.
New Patriotic Party. How long will the NPP continue to plunder the state at the expense of the already impoverished Ghanaian people? What crime has the Ghanaian taxpayer committed to deserve this level of wickedness from Akufo-Addo and Bawumia? Ghanaians have had enough of the naked thievery and wanton abuse of the public purse by the corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government. Today you go to major hospitals in Ghana and they don't even have simple X-ray machines. Go to 37, they don't have functioning X-ray machines. Yet when people get accidents in Accra and its environs, that is the hospital we send most of them to. You go to the dialysis center, they don't have basic supplies. Only last year, that center had to be shut down for 6 months, leading to the avoidable deaths of 17 innocent Ghanaians. Because President Akufo-Addo and Bawumia said they can't afford 4 million Ghana cedis to clear government's indebtedness. Yet we continue to see them abusing the public purse, stealing from the public purse, like there is no tomorrow. Not too long ago, we called you here to address you on the 153 million cedis they paid under the stinking Ejapa scandal, which got botched midstream and which did not accrue any value whatsoever to government. 153 million cedis, equivalent to 1.5 trillion. Today we are here talking about the money which has been doled out to SML under 3 illegal agreements. 1 billion Ghana cedis and over. This is equivalent to over 10 trillion old Ghana cedis. Imagine the X-ray machines, the dialysis machines, the hospitals, the schools, the potable water, the jobs that these monies could have been used for the benefit of Ghanaians, including all of us, NDC, NPP, CPP. Yet these monies are going into private pockets. And Ghanaians, including some of our friends in the media, are quiet. Others have become numb to the multiplicity of corruption scandals we have witnessed under this government, because it looks like the scandals will never end. But we cannot be quiet, neither can we become immune or numb to these serious corruption scandals. Because yes, we will have an opportunity to make a change on the 7th of December 2024. But if we don't speak up, we will not have any Ghana after December 7, 2024, when the new NDC Mahama government takes over the reins of this country. And so what we are saying is that let's speak up and let's rise up against the continuous rape of the public purse. Ghanaians have had enough, ladies and gentlemen, of the naked thievery and wanton abuse of the public purse by the corrupt Akufo-Addo Bawumia NPP government. We in the NDC hereby demand 4 things. Number 1, the immediate termination of all, not some, all illegal contracts entered into between SML and the GRA. Here we are talking about their transaction audit agreement, their external price verification agreement, and their downstream petroleum audit agreement. Some may say that, oh, the agreements have ended. We don't care. Once the agreements were illegal, they were never deemed to have existed. And that is how government must treat it and do the needful. Number two, the retrieval of all payments by government to SML under the illegal agreements which have occasioned a huge financial loss to the state. So once the agreements are illegal, then the state cannot respect those agreements, because this is a country governed by the rule of law. And agreements signed in contravention of the laws of this country cannot stand the test of law in this country. And therefore, any payments made under these illegal agreements must be retrieved. Our courts have had the opportunity times without number to pronounce on this. This is the same reason why the courts asked for the state to retrieve money paid to Oyome, Waterville, Isofoton, and so on, because they were paid under unlawful agreements. Number three, the NDC demands the immediate publication of the full KPMG investigative reports on the dealings between SML and the GRA. Mr. President, why are you hiding that report? That report was conducted by KPMG, put together by KPMG after their investigations, at the expense of the Ghanaian taxpayer. KPMG did not do that work for free. They were paid for that work, and they were paid with our monies. So why are you keeping that report like a CIA confidential report in your drawer at your office? What do you have to hide? What are you trying to conceal? Publish that report now. You who once bragged about being an anti-corruption crusader. We want you to live up to that. Publish that report. We want to know what is in the report. Ladies and gentlemen, the NDC also demands the immediate arrest and prosecution of all persons involved in the award of these illegal contracts and the payment of these illegal fees to SML. We wish to reiterate the position of our flag bearer and leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that the next NDC government will not recognize the illegal contracts entered between SML and the Akufo-Addo government upon assumption into office on the 7th of January 2025. When elected into office, we shall launch credible and transparent investigations into the stinking SML scandal with the aim of retrieving for the state all illegal payments made to SML and ensuring the prosecution of all persons who are complicit in these illegal transactions. You see, while in opposition, sole sourcing was tantamount to corruption, according to the MPP. Procurement breaches were considered an abomination by the MPP. Indeed, since assuming office in 2017, the Akufo-Addo MPP government has prosecuted several persons for alleged procurement breaches and other statutory breaches. Some of these people are languishing in jail today. In fact, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Charlotte Osei, was removed from office, if you would recall, on grounds of alleged procurement breaches. Ladies and gentlemen, this standard of accountability cannot and will not be any different for members of the ruling New Patriotic Party who are responsible for the sleazy SML deal and other corruption scandals. The NDC is committed to promoting transparency, accountability, and value for money in all government procurements. As our running mate for the 2024 elections, the Venerable Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman indicated in her erudite and inspiring speech last Wednesday anyone who has participated in the plunder of the state will be held accountable. Quote, this is not a threat, it is a promise, premised on the wishes of our citizens across various political and social divides, and hinged on the principle of accountability, unquote. Thank you very much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to respectfully plead with you to keep your microphones in position, your cameras in position, and allow me to do a brief summary of this presentation in the Akan language for the purposes of Akan stations who are streaming this press conference live. Abusuafo ayeshia enne de ntia ye frɛ mo ne etitia enche ye kra Martin frɛma mu sɛ asɛm kɛse bi asi Ghana asɛm wo asi Ghana nipa bebre edi ho abobo edi ho awerɛho nipa bebre si afem ɛyɛ asɛm bɛn ɛyɛ asɛm bi a yato ne din sɛ SML scandal SML scandal. Na ene ye frɛ mo a NDC amanyoko ya adwen fa sa asɛm wo ehu no ene asɛm ne mu nkyiremu ene ye pɛsɛ ye de fa mo so na Ghana fo a etie no mo hwɛ mo afidie ni nyina ne timite asɛm na asɛm esansa asɛm yi asɛm a ehu yie a eni sɛ ye toto na se kra abusuanfo SML yi eye company bi a ye from Strategic Mobilization Limited Ghana. Na Semtronia ye frɛ no Manase Azuri one ni nuanom bi a omo ye dwumadie bi under Media Foundation for West Africa for initiative bi omato ne din the Fourth Estate ɛna aye nhwehwemu amana beda mpan sɛ saa company ya ye frɛ no SML yi omo ne omampanya Kufuado Bawumia MPP aban yi afa kana na kwan so aye nhyehyɛ bebre a ama ɔman no ahwe sikatitiri die pa na asɛm ni nyina ne sɛ mobɛkae a on 7th January 2017 ɛna ɔmampanya Kufuado ne MPP foro ɔmampanyi ana aban abanwa ɔmo foro akonwa ne pɛ ɛna ɔpanyimu bi a yɛfrɛ no Evans Adusei MPP ni mapa okote company no ote no 14th February 2017 na ye Valentine Day na osese a na je MPP ba akonwa so no enna aduasa nso pe na omote company no nti we nye company a ewo ho dada omo ye omadwuma na MPP aba no mo ne MPP aban ye adwuma we ye company a omo hu se MPP aba pe na omote na opanyimpa ote saa company no na dwuma a woyɛ paa ne sɛ obu nnua ɔyɛ timba adwuma nti ɔno de ka basika sɛm ho hyehyɛ a nka onim ho maache koraa ba ɔkɔte company no ɔse ɔde bɛyɛ trading ne nyɛma bebre including auditing sika sɛm hwehwɛmu ɔde saa company ne bɛyɛ company ya ɔte yesu no ɛyɛ company a ne mu ɛha company no dwetire a ɔma register ɛyɛ 10,000 cedis ɔmo shares nyina ɛyɛ 10,000 cedis na ade a ama ɔman no yɛ nyina yɛ ho adwiri yɛ ne sɛ ɔmo te company yi wie pɛ bosome 9 pɛ ɔmampanya Kufuado ne Bawumia MPP for sɛ ɔmo pɛ company a ɔbɛkɔ port na import duty a yɛtua ne wɔ hɔ no wakɔyɛ nhwehwɛmu ahwɛ sɛ ɛyɛ ne kwan so a transaction order services a yɛka no brɔfo no ne nkyirikyiri mu nyinaa no na companies bebrebe a wɔ Ghana ɔmo yɛ sikasɛm hwehwɛmu yi ɔmo anya bia amfa adwuma yɛ amane sɛ saa SML yi a yɛte no Valentine Day 2017 na saa mmerɛ no ɔmo di bɛɛ bosome 9 pɛ no ɛna MPP for sɛ ɔmo a na ɔmo pɛ kia ne ke companies ɛwɔ dada ɔmo yɛ sikasɛm hwehwɛmu nyinaa no ɔmo mpɛ SML a saa mmerɛ no na ɔmo di 4 months pɛ no ɔmo a na ɔmo di adwuma de bɛma ɔmo enti ɔmo de krata akɔma Public Procurement Authority sɛ Public Procurement Authority enyintum na yɛma SML adwuma Chese or debe port no wakwa say duty obi atua no eye ne kwan so a. PPA fo ehwe mu anomu se da bi we de etia Ghana mra because ekwan ya na aban ne pese ofa SML adwuma no eye de obroni friend so source e kire se aban ne se o ma ho kwan ma company fufuro bia embe pre adwuma ne bi ye hu ye ka adwuma beto wo se ya ye ma wo kwan ma companies ahodo a omo wo se adwuma no hu nimdie nyina be pre bi ba we de aban ne se me ma obi am pre bi SML nkwa ne me doba a oso mani a me di adwuma no ebema no na se mramu no pese wo ye sa so source na aje se company kro no owo nimdie obroni se exclusive expertise na adwuma a wo ye ne wo se ye adwuma ono nkwa na etimi ye se adwuma no ana se bi aga na to ye nkyerem bi asi ana bibi bi asi a abanya so ye bi ehia bibi bi ntem services bi ntem enti ye ntumi ma ho kwan se obi amepre adwuma ni bi enti ye se ye de mani pa ba ko so source be we de ato ye nkyerem bi ansi 2017 ana adwuma SML okwa ye anya emergency ana adwuma no so anya omo nkwa na betumi aye enti PPA fo hwe ye no omo hu se etiamra enti omo ka se omo mpene so PPA mpene so de a na che se mra emma ban ne kwan se otumi ye sa de no omo ko biem second time PPA se ye mpene so omo ko third time Public Procurement Authority se ye mpene so SML ye man the contract so source a ene mra no ebebo abura aban ne hwe ye se wapem dan no ena omo fa kana na frakadam kwan so ena omo se mupo mumpo kianeke company obeye adwuma no enti ene company bi wo Temaport wa your friend West Blue aban dada na breso nyina no mo wo ho omo wo system wa omo de hwe se enyema e fa Temaport be nyina no who duties are nipa etua no are the correct duties enti that company is the main contractor but impose this new company your friend SML on West Blue say let them be mo subcontractor enti modwuma no munyai ma omo no monyemwa mo mupo mumpo e wo say SML foi omo ye adwuma ni bi boa mo as subcontractor subcontractor adwuma ye de ma SML yiso a anko procurement process ye mramu no section 33 of the Public Financial Management Act say aban adwuma yekuo bi a wo ne obi sign contract ne broafe sa contract ne wo say for parliament na Ghana enam sifuo nyina ahwehwem ehu se edimu ebebo man na se no magi atum we ya fa nko parliament ye ne sumu ase GRA for no omo board members a e wo se omo tena se ehwehwe agreement ni mu discuss egitum emma GRA for akwanya se mu betumi assign contract no omo kra so a ye de see omo and discuss and approve enti die pa na be masa adwen we aba obi tim se menni SML company afa ni ate wedi bosome enan oni experience bia na me ma no sa me ne nya sa suma se dwadie na me mfa adwuma nkoma no a abra metietia Ghana mraso like this no munim bi omo hwehwe ko busuafo se mo behwa SML di odano a wototo nyema your friend Mr. Christian Tete Soti papa kofo tia konwa so ona na eye controller and accountant general at some point ena wakọ na humijie omampenye kufu adoba na wapa ne se wonye futufuo emma opanyimpa a oda Ghana Revenue Authority ano emra kana nan hye ekoso yi sie befa SML so source so ekoso yi nyina no Mr. Soti na te ho as futufuo emma GRA SML for nsaka adwuma no pe through omo illegal soul sourcing pe ena Mr. Soti say aben GRA adwuma no menye biem me kwa akoye adwuma e de ama SML inti prem papa no adwuma wo ye ne say wo ye managing director ti de ebisa ne say how can you advise a public agency which advice includes side adwuma ya de ama SML yi na wo wi a watwa ho asan kwa akoye adwuma ama SML on mind ben mu na BBC ebetumi akoso na de ya ne say omode saa anwuma nyina ma SML against Ghana mra ne yen hyehye no No munim say adwuma SML no etiamra no omatam Ghana sikatitridie over 1 billion new Ghana cedis. Titisika no 10 trillion old cedis. And omodi ama SML say ye de atu omoka.